Darren Holt stepped off the old shuttle and looked at the giant shape floating beside the mining outpost. The workers had dragged in only a day ago, a huge alien shipwreck, burned, cracked, and almost split in half. Most people on the outpost called it junk. Some even joked it would fall apart before anyone could study it. To Darren, it did not look like junk. It looked sad. He was an old mechanic, with silver in his beard and tired eyes, but he still loved machines. Even after leaving his job on Earth and coming to this lonely outpost, he still felt calm when he saw gears, wires, engines, or metal plates waiting to be repaired. The younger workers laughed when they saw him staring at the wreck. "Old man Holt wants to fix that thing," one joked. "He can't even fix his knees," another said. Darren ignored them. He always ignored them. Words could not hurt him more than the silence of a life where no one needed him. Here, at least the machines listened. He floated closer to the wreck, using his small thruster pack. The ship towered over him like a sleeping beast. Its hull was covered in strange patterns, almost like veins. Some parts looked grown, not built, as if the ship had once been alive. When he touched the surface, a soft vibration ran up his arm. Just a tiny tremor, almost nothing, but enough to make him pause. "Still got a spark in you," he whispered. He opened a small cleaning kit and began brushing away layers of dust and broken metal. The job would take weeks, maybe months, but he felt a strange pull to begin now, even if no one told him to. Inside the hangar, the other mechanics watched him. "He's losing it," someone muttered. "Let him," another said. "Keeps him busy." Darren worked quietly. He moved from one cracked plate to another, removing burned fragments, wiping off ash and checking the joints. His hands were steady, even though they were old. He hummed as he worked, a habit from when he used to fix ships back on Earth. Hours passed. The more he cleaned, the more he felt something unusual. The ship seemed to respond. When he cleared certain sections, faint lines of light flickered under metal, then faded again as if shy. By the time he returned to his small room that night, he could not stop thinking about it. Machines did not flicker on their own. Not dead ones. Not ships that had been floating cold in space for hundreds of years. The next morning, he returned early. No one else was awake yet. Darren liked it that way. Quiet, peaceful, just him and the silent wreck. He climbed through a torn opening and entered the ship's interior. The hallway inside was dark, full of floating debris. Darren brushed aside small pieces, letting them drift behind him. He reached the central chamber, where a round panel sat half-buried under rubble. The patterns on the floor reminded him of drawings he used to make as a child, shapes he sketched without knowing why. Perfect circles, spirals, paths that connected like stars. He shook his head. Memories from long ago were no help here. He knelt beside the panel and began clearing debris. Each time he touched the metal, he felt a warmth that should not exist in a dead ship. "Why does this feel familiar?" he whispered. As he cleaned more, he uncovered a circular device with a smooth surface. It looked like a control node, maybe some part of the core system. Darren placed his hand on it gently. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a pulse of soft white light spread across the surface, like a heartbeat waking from a long sleep. Darren pulled back in shock. The light faded again, but he knew what he saw. He was not losing his mind. The ship had reacted to him. Shaking slightly, he stood and looked around the dark chamber. "Hello?" he said softly, feeling foolish. There was no answer. No sound except his own breathing and the faint hum from his thruster pack. Still, the moment stayed with him. A dead ship should not pulse. A forgotten wreck should not respond to touch. Footsteps echoed behind him. A young worker peeked in. "Old man, you still here? You know that thing is worthless, right?" Darren did not answer. The worker shrugged and left. Darren waited until he was alone again. Then he placed his hand on the panel one more time. It stayed dark, but he felt warmth beneath the metal, as if something inside was trying to wake up, but was too weak. He sighed and stood. He would return tomorrow, and the next day, and as long as it took, because for the first time in many years, something, this strange, broken ship, needed him, and he would not walk away. Darren returned to the abandoned ship the next morning with a toolbox, a small lamp, and a quiet hope he tried not to admit to himself. The wreck floated in the hangar like a giant shadow, silent and broken. But Darren felt something inside it, something that was not fully gone. He drifted through the same broken opening and entered the dark corridor. This time he moved slower, paying attention to every sound. Sometimes he thought he heard a faint hum, like a breath. Sometimes he thought the walls shifted, as if the ship was listening. He told himself it was just his imagination, but part of him did not believe that. Darren reached the central chamber again. His lamp cast a soft glow on the strange circular panel he had touched the day before. He half expected it to pulse again when he approached, but it stayed dark. "That's all right," he whispered. "We'll get you cleaned up first." He started clearing more rubble. He brushed away dust, pulled out broken wires, and stacked fallen panels in neat piles. Every time he removed something heavy, the floor patterns under debris became clearer. Lines that looked like veins ran through the chamber, connecting to the central node. "It's like your whole body's wired into this room," he said. He heard a quiet echo after he spoke, like the room was repeating the last note of his voice. It lasted only a second, too short to be real, but he heard it. He froze. "If there's someone here, I mean no harm." Silence followed, a long, heavy silence. He went back to work, because work was the only thing that made sense. Hours passed. His back ached, and his hands were black with dust. But the chamber looked cleaner now, and the strange node was almost fully uncovered. Then something happened that made him stop breathing. When he brushed away the last bit of debris, the lights on the floor blinked. Not randomly, slow, steady like a heartbeat. The soft glow traveled through the lines, one section at a time, until it reached the central panel. The panel lit up, just a faint glow at first. Darren stepped back. "You're waking up." Another pulse of light, this one brighter. He heard a sound, a soft hum, almost like a sigh. The air in the chamber warmed slightly, and dust floated in slow circles as if moved by a gentle breeze. Darren placed a hand on the nearest wall. "Easy now, don't push yourself." This time, when he touched the wall, a small ripple of light traveled away from his hand, like the ship was acknowledging him. "You really are alive," he whispered. He was not afraid. He should have been, maybe. A living alien ship was not something humans understood. But Darren felt no danger, only a strange feeling of connection. He remembered long nights on Earth when he worked alone in the shipyards. He used to talk to machines, telling them they were doing great, even though they could not hear him. But this ship, this ghost ship, felt like it could hear. A sudden sound made him jump, a metallic clang, coming from the corridor behind him. "Hello," Darren called. No answer, but he thought he saw movement for a moment, something quick, like a flicker of a shadow. He frowned. Must be a loose panel. He went back to the node. The glow was bright now, warm under his palm. He felt a pulse against his skin, a slow, steady beat. Then a voice whispered, quiet, weak, almost like a breath forming into sound. "Darren?" He froze. The voice was not human. It was soft, broken, and echoed strangely through the room. But it said his name. His heart pounded. Who are you?" No answer. Only the hum. He looked around the chamber. Nothing moved. Nothing spoke again. But the panel glowed, and the pulse under his palm felt stronger, like the ship was struggling to talk. "You know my name," he said quietly. "How?" Still silence. He stayed there for a long moment, trying to steady his breathing. The ship had spoken, even if only one word, even if only his name. He backed away slowly. "I'll come back tomorrow," he said. "You're tired. Rest." The lights dimmed slightly, as if the ship understood. When Darren returned to the hangar entrance, a group of workers stood there waiting. One of them laughed loudly. "Still talking to your ghost ship, old man?" Another added, "Make sure it doesn't eat you in your sleep." Darren ignored them. He walked past with his jaw tight and his heart racing. The ship was alive, and it knew him. He did not understand how. He did not understand why. But something inside that wreck was waking up, piece by piece, and it was calling to him. Darren returned to the abandoned ship earlier than usual the next day. He barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard that soft voice in his mind, broken, fragile, but real. The ship had spoken, and it had spoken his name. Now he walked through the dark corridor with a strange feeling in his chest. Not fear, something warmer, something like hope. He reached the central chamber, and the lights on the floor blinked faintly when he stepped inside, as if greeting him. It was small and soft, but it was real. "Good morning," he said quietly. A hum answered him, low, slow, like a sleepy breath. He smiled. He set his toolbox down and began working on the broken wiring around the central node. He talked while he worked, just as he had done for years in the shipyard. Except this time, he felt like someone was listening. "You tried speaking yesterday," he said. "Don't push yourself. Talk when you can." The floor hummed again, just a little stronger. Hours passed as he cleaned and repaired. The glow under the floor brightened with each piece he fixed, running through the lines like veins coming alive again. Dust blew gently away from him in small circles. The air felt warmer, safer. Then he heard it, a soft whisper, almost like a tiny exhale forming into a word. And he froze in place. He turned slowly toward the central panel, heart hammering. "I'm here," he said quietly. "I'm listening." The panel flickered. The hum deepened. Then the voice came again, still broken, still weak, but stronger than yesterday. "Duran." He stepped closer. "Yes, that's me." A pause. A long, trembling pause. "You came?" His knees felt weak. He reached out and placed his palm on the glowing panel. "Of course I came," he said. "I said I'd be back." Lights rippled outward from his hand, traveling across the floor in smooth waves. The hum deepened again, no longer weak, but steady, warm. "Her," the ship whispered. "You're hurt," Darren said softly. "I know. I can fix you. But you have to tell me how." Silence. Then another flicker of light. The lines on the floor shifted, outlining a path through the ship, one that Darren had not walked before. He stared at it. "You want me to go there?" A faint pulse of light answered him. He picked up his lamp and followed the glowing path. The ship guided him slowly, lighting the floor ahead of him section by section. It felt like walking inside a living thing, gentle, careful, aware. The path led to a sealed door covered in cracks. When Darren touched it, the panel pulsed again. "Open?" he asked. The door groaned. Slowly, painfully, it slid aside. Inside, he found a large chamber filled with broken machinery. Pipes shattered, wires torn apart, panels crushed like paper. It looked like something had hit this room hard. "Is this where you were damaged?" Darren asked. The voice answered softly. "Her, long ago." He walked deeper inside the room and examined the broken engine core at the center. Its metal shell had a deep scar, melted and ripped open. Whatever hit it had been powerful. Darren knelt beside it. "You've been alone a long time, haven't you?" A soft hum, gentle and sad, echoed through the chamber. "Alone," the ship repeated in a whisper. He touched the ruined metal gently. "Don't worry. I'll fix this part too. Might take time, but I'll do it." The lights brightened slightly, almost like the ship was relieved. He spent hours removing broken panels, disconnecting fried circuits, and clearing blocked vents. The ship helped him. Lights moved ahead of him. Tools shifted on the floor toward him as if gently pushed by unseen hands. This wasn't just a machine. It wasn't just alive. It was trying to talk, trying to help, trying to trust him. When he returned to the central chamber at the end of the day, the panel glowed brighter than ever. The hum felt steady now, almost like a real heartbeat. "Good work today," he said, wiping sweat from his forehead. For the first time, the voice spoke more than a single word. "The Ren fix me." He swallowed hard. He felt something warm in his chest that he had not felt in many years. "I will," he said. "I promise." A slow wave of light spread across the chamber. Soft, warm, grateful. As Darren packed up to leave, he heard one last whisper, clearer than any before. "Thank you." He stopped walking. His eyes burned. He looked back at the glowing panel. "You're welcome," he whispered. No ship had ever spoken to him. No machine had ever thanked him, but this one did. And the more he healed, the more Darren felt that he wasn't just fixing a broken ship. He was bringing someone back to life. Darren walked into the ship early the next morning, carrying extra tools and wires on his back. The floor lights brightened as soon as he stepped inside, like the ship was happy to see him. He smiled a little at that. It felt strange, but good. "Morning," he said quietly. A soft hum answered him, gentle and warm. The voice had not spoken yet today, but he could feel that the ship was awake. He followed the glowing path the ship made for him, leading him back to the engine core room. The destroyed metal crush pipes and burnt wires were now half cleared thanks to his work yesterday. He knelt beside the cracked engine housing and began opening a panel near the base. As he worked, the lights flickered softly. "To run." He stopped. The voice was clearer now, less broken. "I'm here," he replied. The ship hesitated for a moment. Then the words came out, slow but steady. "Do you want truth?" Darren frowned slightly. He sat back on his heels. "Truth? About what?" The floor pulsed once, like a heartbeat. "Me." He wiped his hands and leaned forward. "Yes," he said. "I think I'm ready to hear it." The lights dimmed around him, leaving only the panel in front glowing bright. A soft vibration moved through the chamber, almost like the ship was gathering strength. "Not ship," the voice said. Darren blinked. "You're not a ship?" A long silence followed. Then, "Body ship, mine not." He tried to understand. He had fixed many ships in his life, but none had ever spoken like this. None had ever felt alive. "What are you, then?" he asked. Light spread slowly across the floor, forming shapes. Circles, lines, symbols he didn't recognize. They moved gently, almost like the ship was drawing its story for him. "Hurt long ago," the ship whispered. "Hiding, waiting alone." Darren looked around the chamber. He finally realized something. This wreck was not just a machine. It was a being, a living intelligence trapped inside broken metal. He placed his palm on the floor. "You're alive," he said softly. "You're a person." The lights brightened at the word person. The ship hummed, a sound that carried both hope and relief. "The run fix body," the voice said. "Help me wake." He swallowed. "I'll do it, but tell me what happened to you." The hum changed. It grew deeper, sadder. "Attacked," the ship whispered. "By ones like me. Wanted my core, wanted my mind." Darren's eyes widened. "Your own kind attacked you?" A faint pulse answered him. Escape? Broken fell alone. He imagined it. A sentient ship, hunted by its own species, crashing or drifting until it ended here, abandoned, forgotten, hurt, waiting for someone to help. "How long?" he asked quietly. "How long have you been alone?" The lights dimmed like a sigh. 312 years. Darren closed his eyes for a moment. 3 centuries. Alone. Damaged. Silent. Everyone else had mocked him for trying to clean this wreck. But from the start, he had felt something strange about it. Something calling him. He opened the panel fully and began repairing the coolant lines. "You're not alone now," he said. "I'm here." The hum warmed again. He worked for hours, repairing the thick cables that fed power into the core. Every time he connected something, light spread across the walls like veins waking up. The ship whispered small things. Warm, working good, as if feeling every repair. At one point, a small shock of static sparked against his hand. He flinched but then laughed. "That tickled," he said. The ship made a soft rising hum, almost like laughter in machine form. Near the end of the day, as he tightened the final bolt, a deep vibration moved through the entire room. The lights brightened. The air grew warmer. The floor trembled gently under his feet. The ship spoke with more strength than ever before. "Duran core waking." He stepped back. "That's good. Slowly, though. Don't push yourself." "Trust you," the ship whispered. The words hit him harder than he expected. He stared at the glowing panel, feeling his throat tighten. No one trusted him this much. No one ever had. "Thank you," he whispered. A final message came before the lights dimmed again. "Truth more soon." Darren nodded. "Whenever you're ready." He walked out of the chamber, But he paused at the doorway and looked back. The ship wasn't just metal anymore. It wasn't just a project or a broken machine. It was someone. And tomorrow, he would finally learn the full truth, why it knew his name and why it had chosen him. The ship hung in space like a quiet giant, glowing gently as if it had finally found peace. But inside the bridge, the light was bright and alive, and the voice of the ship spoke with calm strength. Joran stood in the center of the room, his old hands shaking slightly. Around him, the screen showed star charts, maps, and old missions he had never dreamed of. The ship told him its real name, Legacy 01. It was not just a battleship or a scout ship. It was the first ship ever built to protect the entire system. It carried history in its metal and memories in its core. For years, people had only seen a wreck. They had mocked Joran for wasting time on it. But now the truth filled the air like warm light. Joran listened as the ship explained how it had once saved entire colonies and how it had lost its crew in a great battle. When it returned home, no one remembered it. No one cared. It drifted alone for decades, its systems almost gone. But when Joran touched it for the first time, something changed. It felt the hands of someone who did not want power or praise, someone who simply wanted to fix what was broken. And that was enough to wake its heart again. Joran watched the screens as images of past captains appeared. Brave people, young and old, smiling in their uniforms. The ship showed him how they trained, how they fought, how they laughed together. Joran felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never been a soldier or a hero. He was just a mechanic who worked small jobs and lived quietly. Yet the ship spoke to him with respect, calling him caretaker. It had chosen him. Outside, more ships gathered near the wreck field. At first, they had come to laugh or record videos of the old man who loved a dead ship. Now they came because the wreck was alive again. Military ships, research ships, and even private explorers moved closer, tried to understand what had happened. None of them expected the old mechanic to step forward as the ship's chosen operator. Legacy 01 asked him gently, "Will you guide me now, Joran? Will you help complete what was left unfinished?" He didn't speak right away. His hands touched the console, feeling the smooth surface that he had cleaned with simple rags. He thought about his quiet life, the lonely evenings, the days where no one cared if he existed. Then he thought about this ship, this forgotten giant that had waited for someone to believe in it again. He nodded slowly. "I will," he said. His voice was low but steady. Lights ran across the walls. The engines hummed softly, like a creature waking from long sleep, but ready to rise. The ship extended its wings, sharp and bright, and the wreck field shimmered as chunks of metal floated away from its energy waves. People watching from other ships were shocked. News began to spread quickly. The old mechanic woke the ghost ship. But Joran didn't think about fame or fear. He only felt a new purpose settle inside him like a warm flame. Legacy 01 opened new data windows for him, showing a mission from long ago, a mission never finished. It involved a warning signal sent from deep space. The old crew had not lived long enough to reach it. Now the ship asked Joran if he wanted to go. Joran looked at the stars outside the view window. They seemed brighter than ever. For the first time in many years, adventure did not feel like something for younger people. It felt like something waiting for anyone brave enough to step forward. "I'm ready," he said. The ship responded like a friend. "Then let us begin our journey." Slowly, Legacy 01 turned toward the dark stretch of unexplored space. The engines glowed brighter and brighter. The other ships stayed back, watching in awe as the old mechanic and the awakened ship moved together like a pair bound by fate. As they flew into the unknown, Joran felt something he thought he had lost forever: hope. The universe stretched open before him, and he no longer felt old or forgotten. He was part of something greater. He was part of a legacy. And this time, he would not run from life. He would chase it among the stars.